Hello everybody, welcome to Little Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel, drop a like on this video. Trying to hit 50k subscribers over here, so that subscription would be much appreciated. If you are not aware already, we do have a deep dive coming out on the deep dive channel soon, so please be on the lookout for that. It is coming at the very end of the month, 7/31. Mark it on your calendar. It would really mean a lot if you check that out. But in today's video, I want to talk about this recent Luka Doncic skinny gate men's health cover, looking in better shape than he has in quite a long time. And this is also, by the way, not something that I would ever make a video on until now. Something like this is exactly what this channel is for, because I don't want to do some deep look into what Luka's weight situation is on Rusty Buckets, but hey, we can talk about the guy's fitness for a little bit. Why not? First of all, a lot of people are dismissing this as kind of the same thing that's happened before, and I am sure I do remember this phenomenon being a thing, but I think something happens like twice, and then people are like, oh my god, this just happens all the fucking time now. But my take for this particular situation, by contrast to getting images and shit from him before, is like, first of all, this is a whole write-up, this is a whole puff piece that is, yes, he could end up falling on his face and making himself look like a jackass, but clearly there is an amount of confidence behind this physique from Luka that would cause him to even want to do something like this. But also, the circumstances are different. It's not really the same as the off-season photos of old, because this is a dramatically different context going into a season than anything he's experienced before. I will get into how the weight stuff with Luka is a little bit overblown, significantly overblown by a good amount of people to begin with. I do want to say this: they lit a fucking fire under this guy. There is simply no way that a guy who is very clearly super competitive, like psychotically competitive, like Luka Doncic has made it clear that he is time and time again, there is no way that what happened in Dallas will not be some crazy motivator. Now, he obviously wasn't phenomenal in a Lakers jersey, definitely nowhere near the best version of Luka in a Lakers jersey, but in the context of the season where he was, it makes sense because, first of all, he had the longest postseason of his entire career because of the finals, did not enter the season in the best of shapes, and then he got injured pretty early into the year. It continued to be an off and on again re-aggravating situation, and then he was out for a prolonged period in February and continued to gain more and more weight and was just in outright very bad shape for the NBA by February. And Nico Harrison, the GM of the Mavericks, has always had his crosshairs trained on Luka. There was that whole shit of like Luka being like, I feel like they trade everybody who is my friend, everybody that I like, they try to get rid of. There's a lot of stuff that suggests there was a lot of contempt from management for Luka from behind the scenes, and they were just really looking for the opportunity to ditch him. And I think said opportunity was found in February because of those circumstances. And the weight thing with Luka has always been overblown, and I think it's for the same reason that like ultimately the weight stuff with Shaq does not really matter. It does matter in the sense of like he could have done more if he did not get so out of shape later in his career, but still an all-time great player who did all-time great things, who had one of the greatest peaks ever. And you can be an all-time great basketball player and not be in perfect shape, because some people just got it like that, and Luka is one of those dudes who's got it like that. And yes, the two things can be true. Luka's conditioning and weight situation in February at the start of this year was not good, and the Mavericks should not have traded him because of that. They were just resolute in the idea that it would be a reoccurring issue because there had been times where he had weight gain before. The guy just led them to the finals. He averaged 34, 10, and nearly 10, like 9.8 assists. Nearly a 34-point triple-double on like 50 4% shooting, 28% from or 38% from 3 on 10 attempts per game. Just unbelievable shit. And they're like, this guy gained 20 pounds. I guess it's over for him. We got to cash out before the rest of the league catches up and realizes that he sucks and he isn't a real asset. Yeah, no, that was stupid as shit for a variety of reasons. But Luka was also not in very good shape this year, and it was detrimental to him in the postseason. I think he was sluggish. I think it made his bad defense even worse, the same way it did in the 2024 finals, because he was dealing with an injury in that series. Not weight, just bunch of lower body injuries. I don't know. I don't like doing these conversations. Like, it's like getting into body image. I don't want to give anyone body dysmorphia. Not that fucking Luka is watching this shit, but like, yes, athletes do need to be in good condition to do their job, and they're paid an amount of money that it is reasonable for that to be the expectation. But I also think people get way too comfortable talking about this stuff and dehumanizing the athletes in the process of it. I just got done recording my video about the Joel Embiid article, and there was a whole bunch of that with Marcus Hayes being like, he's fat, he doesn't care. It's not really how it works. And I don't think, obviously there's the hookah Luka, drinking too many beers, whatever the fuck. I think if you're that goddamn goated with it, you get to do that. And I think he more than proved that he is able to do that shit and then still be a top basketball player on the planet, because the Luka Doncic shit started before his what should have been 2023-2024 MVP season. Should have been an MVP, frankly. I do want to highlight one thing from the article. A couple of people have done this on Twitter, but I want to, because it sucks. TBH, I can't necessarily endorse this article as super great. It wasn't the most well-written thing in the world. There's some interesting stuff in there, specifically that Luka missed 1 month of basketball in order, like, he didn't play basketball for a month so that his joints and like his body could just recover from the repetitious basketball movement, like give his body a break for pounding a ball all the time, going through the motions of shooting and all that. Like, give himself that break for the first time since before he went into the whatever this professional basketball school situation was or whatever. Yeah, it was something. It was really something. And he looks remarkable. He looks as skinny as he was in his second season. And another way that you can definitely see that weight has been an issue for Luka, and again, I still feel weird about that just because we are nitpicking when we're talking about the issues with a player of his caliber. If you watch rookie and sophomore Luka, he looks like a different human being. Some would refer to this just simply being twink death, but he definitely got a little bit bulkier. Not that it worked against him. It will be interesting to see what Luka looks like this next year. I personally am predicting him to be a top 3 player this season. I think he will be very, very good. But yeah, skinny legend, Luka Doncic. I don't know anything about fitness if you couldn't tell. All right, that's it. Goodbye.